And we'll start with Monica Weed. How you doing, Monica?
Good. How are you?
Well, can't complain. No one listens anyway, right? So tell me, you were involved in so many things, and I've been trying to get you on the show now for about 6 weeks. So I wasn't sure what we are going to talk about till last at the last moment, and then you hit me with Tech Stars Equitech launch. So why don't you explain what that is? Because I don't know what that is either.
Yeah. So as most people know, that TechStars is a global accelerator program. And so I've been working with them for 10 years in various roles in different cities and spaces. And was tapped earlier this year to launch the TechStars Equitech program in Baltimore, Maryland. But it's meant to be a blueprint for how cities, similar to how Detroit and other cities are reemerging, can create not just quote unquote the next tech city, but really focused on how do you enhance cities who have blueprints, have industries, have things set up, but how do we enhance the investment base and the way that you attract founders, especially those from different backgrounds, to a city, and help that be the way that you view all innovation in the city through a lens of not just underrepresented founders, but also founders who are creating technologies that are breaking down barriers for everyone. And so those are founders from any background as well. So super, super exciting launch that I'm doing in partnership with our partners, the Upsurge Baltimore team, but definitely something that we're excited about because they've recently just won another award. They just won a technically award for their role as leads and kind of putting this vision out for multiple cities to use as a blueprint, but definitely as it pertains to like a ongoing vision from a TechStars perspective on how we think about investing in innovation and entrepreneurship.
Huh, Matt?
Okay, so tell me a little bit more about the history of the program, if you could.
Sure. This is the very first time Upsurge Baltimore is a new group. It's led by Jamie McDonald, and the program itself was founded. The work that they've been doing has been going on for decades in various capacities. But Upsurge Baltimore itself is really new. The Equitech vision is a blueprint for not only Baltimore but for all cities in the U.S. is something that is also new. But yeah, so it's got three components. So as an investment thesis, a lot of times, especially in accelerators or with different venture funds, you'll see folks like saying, hey, we're investing in this vertical or and founders from this area, or from founders who are at this stage of company. And the Equitech vision is set up pretty comprehensively. This is exciting and good thought in that it's three components. The first of which is underestimated founders. And so that's women, that's people of color, that is the differently able, that is members of the LGBTQ community, those who just traditionally do not get access to funding and relationships that help them get investment into their businesses. So that's part one. The next part is founders from any background. And those are founders who are in any background, any location, any space or place. And they are excitingly looking at companies that have diversity, equity, and belonging as part of their DNA. And what that means is not just like an HR event, like, hey, we're doing this one-time thing once a year, things like that. But this is like that it's foundational, that it is you're diverse in your leadership team, you're diverse in your cap table, which is those who are invested in your company. You're diversity, equity, and belonging are part of the mission statement of your company, and that there are ongoing moments that you're utilizing these things to kind of measure yourself against. So that's the second part. But then the third part is also founders from any background, but that they are really creating products and technologies that are focused on, as we call it, that are focused on breaking down barriers and creating access for the 99% of the world. So I always use it as an example for those who may or may not be aware that it could be something like Robinhood. So most people are familiar with the Robinhood platform and the fact that it allows any investor to invest in any stock very easily in a very accessible manner. So it's breaking down barriers and creating ways for folks who traditionally didn't get, tech and stock advice, stock information, all that kind of stuff, and the ability to invest in a very simplistic way. So we were super, super pleased that we were able to get 12 companies, including 2 from Detroit, into this is the very first inaugural class of Tech Stars Equitech. And so for us, we have companies from all over the world. As I mentioned, 2 from Detroit, 3 from New York, a couple from DC, and I believe 3 from Baltimore. And then we have some from Berlin, from Ireland, from Toronto, just all over, where the setup is really focused on such a diverse class and such a diverse makeup in the way that people think about innovation. But there's 12 of them. And so super, super excited with the 12 companies that we've chosen, and the ways that they're impacting the world and the ways that they are taking these innovations to the next level.
Which begs the questions, the 2 companies from Detroit, can you name them and what the particular technology they're going after is?
Sure. So first up, we have Athletic. Athletic is a marketplace. It's basically, it connects student athletes to the new endorsement opportunities. So for many of those who may or may not know, previously, there was a block where non-professional athletes, these schools are making millions, if not billions of dollars on these athletes, but the athletes themselves were never allowed to profit from it. They were actually fined and or banned from different leagues in all sports if they were seen to be earning money on their brand or image. Whereas the schools and the stadiums, they're doing season tickets and billion-dollar deals and endorsements and all that kind of stuff. They're able to make this money. Well, they've changed that rule recently, and so Athletic is a marketplace that connects these student athletes to endorsement opportunities, and they've been doing some amazing work. They've recently won. They were, I don't know if you guys know or have met with Hodge Flemings, who's had his initiative going on for years. They were recently a graduate of his accelerator program. They're actually awarded recently some support and some partnership with Cadillac. They've won several contracts at all different levels. They actually recently just won from MasterCard as well. So they're just moving leaps and bounds. The second of which is Sparin. Sparin Homes, which is a person-to-person real estate marketplace where people basically buy and sell real estate themselves without the requirement of a bank or an agent. And so the Sparin setup is really, really comprehensive, really unique. They call themselves the Amazon of real estate, and not from the thought of like, hey, I can just go buy this product online, but really thinking through all the layers of what the operating system behind Amazon is and how the data flows and how information flows from level to level. So both of these companies are based and born in Detroit, but they're 2 of our 12 picks for this first inaugural cohort.
Matt?
Mike, I'm going to have to bow out of the program at this point. I have a bunch of people I need to contact about something. My apologies.
Okay. We can do that. So, all right. So I'll take it from here. How now this inaugural class is all set. Now, is this going to be an annual thing?
Yeah. We right now our class launched November 15th. And so it's running through February 24th. And then we will have both a global investor day as well as our regular demo day, which will be global investor day, February 17th, investor reveal, I should say. And then we'll have our demo day on February 24th. So it's running right now. Everyone's obviously getting ready to break for Christmas, as you mentioned, or the holiday break, as you mentioned. The goal is the applications. This last round opened in the spring, and the next round will open at or about that same time period, where we'd be recruiting another class and really just looking at how we change the needle on where investment falls, and just how folks are creating these technologies that are breaking down barriers and creating access for folks.
Okay. What else is going on? We've got a few minutes here. I know keeping up with you it's very challenging because you're involved in so many things. So besides this, what other hot things are you involved in that you can talk about?
Well, right now we have several things in play, but none that we can announce yet. But we will be sure to be the first. You'll be one of the first folks that we engage when we were ready to announce the 2022 stuff. But very exciting stuff in play for 2022 as we think about like what the setup is for entrepreneurs, how we're capitalizing. Obviously, there's a lot of questions swirling around. Will COVID be? Where will COVID have us coming March, April, May, that kind of time period? Because that's when things would go live. But lots of thoughts of folks excited about what 2022 looks like for Startup Week, for different initiatives, for some of the conferences that we have coming too, but none that we're in the market right now and announcing.
All right. Well, then let's go with how can people reach out to you if they want to get involved in any of the projects that you're doing? What's the best way to do that?
Absolutely. So I always tell people that LinkedIn is the easiest way to find me. I'm on LinkedIn.com, Monica Wheat, MONICAWHEAT. Techstars in and of itself has a Tech Stars Equitech website, but the main Techstars site, which talks about there are 40 Techstars Accelerator locations in cities worldwide. That's just techstars.com, TECHSTARS.com. And then, of course, we've done a ton of initiatives, both with our one of our lead Techstars is one of our longest running partnerships under our banner, which is Venture Catalyst, which is Venture Catalyst, VENTURE, Catalyst, CATALYSTS.CO, just the CO. But those are the three easiest ways, depending on what projects are interesting to folks. But I'm always open to answer questions, to connect people, and definitely to provide as much information as possible to help cities and ecosystems get built, and then help entrepreneurs and innovators get access to things that will help them scale.